All right, let's take a look at Justin Thomas's swing here. We got a front on the left, down the line on the right. Um, from this front on, let's kind of start here. First off, let's look at his setup. I think the camera might be a hair in front of being exactly on that ball line, but one thing that's kind of interesting to look at right away is just that, you always hear the ball should be played off the lead heel, the kind of instep. You can see with him that's not necessarily the case. And so a lot of times if players are trying to maybe work the ball, hit maybe more of a draw, playing it a little bit more back can make that easier. And then, if we look at some of the things and the elements from the right side, you're going to see that this is going to be a little bit more of an in-to-out move, and we're going to talk about how he does that. So love his setup, though, overall. Very solid. One thing you're going to kind of notice, and the camera moves a little bit, but he definitely moves into his right side early and definitely moves away from this line. So there is some pretty significant head movement right off the bat. I have a line on that ball, so you can tell that, really it's not so much the camera moving, but it's more of JT moving a little bit down and away, which I would say with a driver is not necessarily a bad move. It's going to definitely help you get more behind it, which should kind of shallow you out a little bit with the attack angle, make it a little bit easier to swing up on the ball. So I kind of like where he is there. Top of the swing, a lot of good things going on. Great differential between shoulders and hips. One thing I like is as he's kind of finishing his backswing, his hips are kind of already starting to kind of put pressure a little bit more forward. But, one thing to keep in mind is, in addition to the head moving a little bit, is look at his lead arm. His lead arm is definitely, bending a little bit. It's extended enough, but it's not rigid, which is kind of what I like to see with my players, some soft tissue, not being overly robotic there. Then, transitioning, great little transition move there. I love that trail arm peeking out from underneath. You definitely see this more with guys who have the arms up a little bit more at the top. That's something I see a lot. And then you can just really notice, and I'm going to really point this out from down the line, the lower body activation, really pushing up, really rotating. You see that trail knee really working in front of that foot. So a lot of opening with the lower body. And then because of the ball position, the hands kind of beat the club head slightly to that ball. Usually I kind of like to see the hands and the club arrive at the same time, but overall very solid. This is just going to help him start it maybe a little bit more to the right and draw it back a hair through there. But awesome position here, huge extension. Not a lot of rotation with the arms and hands, actually surprised a little bit there. Most guys I see at this kind of halfway through point where they're at belt height, I can at least see a little bit of the glove hand underneath. Can't see that here really, but just really just awesome through here. He's got that long kind of right arm, kind of Hogan-esque. JD does this, Jason Day a little bit. So many good things going on, and then, just nice balanced finish, heel above the toe, weight in the left heel. Love that, love that, love that. From this side, down the line, let's check it out. Draw a line up the shaft, and, what I really want to kind of showcase here, there's a lot of talk about, how he is at the top of his swing or where his arms are. You do see him do a lot of drills where he kind of goes back here, and I know one thing he tries to make sure of is that the club face doesn't get overly closed. So for a lot of people, the club face gets too close, and on top of that, if you come down a little bit steep, that can be a tough place to play from. So I know he's always kind of working on trying to get that toe a little bit more up. I think that looks really good to me, kind of matches his spine angle, so very solid so far. A little bit more of the up at the end, right? So he kind of is a little more in with the hand path, and then from here, it's going to probably be mostly an upward move. Yeah, pretty much up from there. But really what he does really, really well to help kind of shallow this club, in addition to getting that trail arm under a little bit, is he has a huge separation between his upper and lower body. So what you're really going to see here is, kind of that signature right foot, right knee that takes off. But you can really see as he comes down how open his hips are right here, but yet how close his shoulders are relative to his hips. So pretty impressive. I'm seeing his hips. If I was to take, this line right here, we're going to see his hips. Oops, there we go. Pointing more to the left, definitely more open, where his shoulders are pointing a little bit more to the right. So that's a great visual for a lot of people who struggle to come from the inside, struggle to get the club more inside. And, for anyone trying to hit a big kind of push draw, this is kind of the perfect hole for it if you look out there. Getting that club behind the hands coming down with the toe above the heel, kind of slotting right through the lower part of that forearm with the face up and down. I mean, this is about as good as it gets right there. And then you're just going to see that club kind of approach from the inside. It looks like he's hitting a little up on that one. Everything's kind of exiting a little more out to the right, which is going to be great to get that ball to kind of turn over a little bit. Slightly higher exit when that happens, right? A little bit more above or on the shoulder line versus lower than the shoulder line. But absolutely love that. Nice finish as well. Really good. And then, one thing I also want to talk about with that trail leg, because A lot of people kind of ask, what should the trail foot do? Well, absolutely we're going to see, that heel get up for most people when they hit the driver. But what I want most people to also understand is after that knee goes out, he's going to be pushing this way a little bit. So his knee's going to move away from this line. We don't see with top players as they come through, the legs really separate a lot coming through impact. And you can really see, look how much that right knee, this is probably one of the most interesting things in this clip for me, is look how much the right knee goes kind of from where it's like maximum out here to maximum in a pretty short period of time. And that's huge as far as how far his knee moves through there. So I love that kind of look coming through, leg posted, right leg next to left leg, kind of thighs together, no hole there. So awesome thing to copy. Even if your foot gets off the ground at the beginning, we're still trying to push forward and in as we come through. That right knee's coming inward more. Excellent work. One of my favorite swings on tour and one of my favorite players.